Good day. Welcome to Dylan's Daily Show. So, we have all been completely bamboozled by North Korea, and I'm going to explain how in this video. But I want to start off talking about a video I made a couple of months ago where I was talking about Kim Jong-un's plan. All right, what was his strategy? What did he want? And what Kim Jong-un wants, and I said this in the video, is to remain in power, and he wants to secure power for future generations. That's how totalitarianism works. That's what these totalitarian leaders do, and that's what they have done, right? So that's what he has wanted. Now, he has a rational fear that the United States and other countries will try to implement regime change within North Korea. This is something that we've done before. We've done it in Libya. We've done it in the Middle East. He has a rational fear of that. So to counter that, he started developing nuclear weapons. He started, trying to get the ultimate negotiating tool, the ability to strike the United States with a nuke. If he got that ability, that totally decreases the chance that the United States will attack North Korea, because it won't be popular in the United States, so people won't want to do it. The media will be, hyping it up. They'll be saying, Kim Jong-un is crazy. Kim Jong-un is a terrible person. He's going to attack the United States, which will be scaring people. Then we won't want to invade, right? Because it won't happen. Congress won't pass it. It won't happen. You won't have regime change. So he wants to stay in power, and that works when he develops a nuclear weapon. But there's three things that cannot happen if he wants to stay in power. The first one is war, all right? There cannot be a war. He knows this. He will lose a war. The United States has a ginormous military budget. He does not have that, obviously, a very high military budget. Obviously, he could attack South Korea, he could attack Japan, he could attack the United States, but if there was really going to be a war, the United States would cremate them. I mean, China wouldn't back up North Korea because it would not be in their best interest at all. They would pretty much be left on their own and they would be screwed. So that cannot happen because he will lose his power. He also cannot allow conditions in his country to get so bad that people begin to start a revolution. He can't allow that to happen. If conditions get so bad that people revolt, can't allow that to happen. Also, he can't risk being overthrown. He can't risk a coup. And we saw a report a couple of months ago that the generals around Kim Jong-un were becoming dissatisfied with Kim Jong-un. They were becoming unhappy with him. That's risking a coup. So he needed to make some changes so he doesn't get a war, conditions don't get bad, because they have been getting worse in North Korea, and he doesn't want to risk being overthrown by the generals, so he has to make people happy. Now, the simple answer would be economic reform. That's what most people would implement, is some economic reform. But the issue with economic reform is that once the economy starts improving, people will get a taste of the good life. And North Korea has thrived on the fact that the people in the country are completely naive. They are cut off from the outside world. They don't have internet access. The only information they get is given to them by the state-run media. They think Kim Jong-un is a freaking god, and they think he's a hero. And if they start to realize that he's not a hero, that other economic systems may be more beneficial, then they will realize the poison that they have been fed, and that may lead to revolution as well. So that won't work. So the only thing they can do at this point is foreign aid. They can request foreign aid. They can request compensation in a negotiation. Resources. He can pump that into his economy. He can get more food. He can get trade going with China again. He can get good relations with South Korea, which will help the people. He doesn't have to implement economic reform. He doesn't get overthrown because the generals are happy and the people are satisfied. That's his goal. Now, there's a book, all right? Actually, let's start with this. He got a nuke. All right, we know that he got a nuke. He tested a missile a couple of months ago, which proved he had the capability to strike the United States. That's the ultimate negotiating tool. All right? Now the entire world wants to see them denuclearized, and they are almost willing to do anything to get that. They will literally do almost anything. And anybody who does denuclearize North Korea is going to go down in the history books as a hero. The greatest leader of all time if they can denuclearize North Korea. Now, North Korean expert Andrei Lankov wrote a book called The Real North Korea. And in this book, he explained a cycle that North Korea goes through. And the first one is they manufacture a crisis. Okay, so they start manufacturing this crisis. Now, the media around the world help manufacturing the crisis. It's not only about North Korea. When they start testing their nuclear weapons, when they start threatening other countries, the media in the other countries and in the United States especially start to over-exaggerate it. They say Kim Jong-un is crazy. We're going to have World War III because they want viewers. They want ratings because ratings mean money for them. And so the more scared they can make the public, the higher the ratings. So that's what they do. So they've started scaring the public, which helps North Korea. Then the North Korean government, this is the second part of the cycle, the North Korean government suggests negotiation. Everyone's like, oh, they're suggesting negotiation. That's great. We're not going to have World War III. Let's go talk with them, right? That happens next. Then they have the leverage to do and get what they want as soon as they request that negotiation. Because nobody wants World War III. Nobody wants a war under their leadership, so they pretty much get what they want. Now, this may not happen with Trump. We've got more to cover, and we're going to talk about how we've been bamboozled, and we'll get to what Trump can do to prevent this at the end of the video. Now, there have been 6 other attempts at negotiations with North Korea. In fact, they promised to abandon their nuclear program in 2005. But in 2005, they didn't have the capability to attack the United States. So after they got what they want in 2005 through the negotiations, they came back, they bamboozled us then, they started back up on their program, but this time is different. This time, they actually do have the capability to strike the United States. As we've seen from recent missile tests, they do have the capability to strike the United States. So there's no need for them to have a nuclear program anymore. So when Kim Jong-un comes out and says, we're going to end our nuclear program, everybody can come watch us do it, it's going to be a huge ceremony, what are we accomplishing with that? They already have the ability to strike the United States. That's the ultimate negotiating tactic. From now on, if things get bad, they can just revert back to the ability to strike the United States. They don't need to continue to have as big of a nuclear program. In fact, they could have one so small that nobody would even know that they're having it, because they do have the ability to nuke the United States. They achieved their goal. Now, we handed them the leverage that they wanted, all right? Because every single country in the world, including us and Donald Trump, wants to see North Korea denuclearized. And in fact, and they want to see their foreign policy succeed, especially Trump, because people are doubting him. So if Donald Trump is able to succeed, and Kim Jong-un knows this, don't get me wrong, if Donald Trump is able to succeed in negotiating with North Korea and make peace in the Koreas, then he will go down, obviously, as a wonderful president, which will happen. He will go down as a wonderful president because of this. Now, Kim will agree to this is what I think will happen in the negotiations. Kim will agree to stop nuke development, which they no longer need, so of course they will. They will request concessions, some of which they will get. Nothing will change for the people in North Korea. It will still be horrible conditions, but nobody will be paying attention to it because they're not pursuing a nuclear weapon anymore, so there's no direct threat, so there's no incentive for any country to help the people in North Korea, which is sad, but that's the unfortunate reality of the situation. And China will open up to trading again. See, they were pressuring North Korea by cutting off trade routes so that North Korea would settle down. But they didn't need to settle down until they got their nuclear weapon because they knew that that would be the ultimate negotiating tactic. Now, what Trump can do to solve this situation is get them to agree on a treaty. Now, I don't know if they'll do it, but he can try. Now, we don't want this to be like the Iran nuke deal. We don't want this to be a political commitment. They have to promise to give up their nuclear weapons. They've said that they'll cease their nuclear program. They're saying, oh, we'll give up some of it. We don't know if they're going to give up all of them. They literally have to give up all of their nuclear weapons. They have to allow inspectors from other countries, including the United States, to come in and search. They can't hide them. They need to get rid of everything. Because if they keep anything, then they could just boot it right back up again, and now we're back with the cycle. We need to make sure that the cycle cannot continue, and that's what Donald Trump has to do. So if he really wants to secure, it'll be easy for Trump to secure a short-term victory with North Korea. If that's his goal, he'll achieve it. And it'll probably even get him reelected in 2020. It'll do a really good job of that, even if it's a short-term peace. But long-term is much better. And that would be making sure that North Korea can never start this cycle again. That would be long-term peace. And that's what Donald Trump has to do. So we've all been bamboozled. I don't know what Donald Trump is thinking. I'm sure he knows what's going on. I'm sure the generals around Donald Trump knows what's going on. But a lot of us out here have been completely bamboozled. And we didn't even realize, we're like, oh, North Korea's ending the Korean War. What's going on with Kim Jong-un? It's just like historic landmarks have been made, and we've all thought that this is just the result of Trump's foreign policy, which to a certain extent it is, because this didn't happen under Obama, but they also didn't have the ability to strike the United States under Obama. But this is, in a way, a victory for Trump, and it's the result of Trump's foreign policy, because he approached it completely differently than Obama and Bush. But we'll see what happens. We will. We'll see what happens in the future. I'm very curious to see what happens. They've set a date for their summit. They're going to be meeting, and yeah, I mean, we can hope for the best. But either way, Donald Trump is going to secure a short-term victory, which will help him in 2020. So anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and share. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any more. I will catch up with you guys next time. Bye-bye.